If you've been playing Age of Origins for a while, like me, well, you've got a bunch of officers acquired and you're starting to wonder which ones might be the best. Well, first off, if you haven't played Age of Origins, make sure you download it in the link from the description below. But let's get started with today's video topic. Now I'm going to go in here and go to a point just because I find it's easy to kind of display the officers that I do have appointed and talk our way through it. So we'll start right at the top here. And here we have an officer, and if you click on it, you can see some of the skills that they have, and you can actually upgrade and fuse skills and then assign them to these officers as well as they level up. So in this case, this officer has construction speed, resource output, mineral output. All of these are going to increase my ability to get additional resources so that I can build more units, I can build higher level buildings and so forth. So very, very important. Do not underestimate how many of these resources you will need. Over time, as you continue to play, you will need an enormous amount of resources. In the next slot here, I have an officer that's giving additional research speed. There's a ton of things to research, and we'll take a look at that as the video goes on. But having additional speed, especially a large bonus like this officer adds, is really important to getting more of these unlocked over time. And these things that you research also cost resources. So again, you'll see that there's some very common themes as we go through the officers that I've personally selected. Now we have additional fleet units. Now the fleet size is really important as you start to fight monsters of higher levels, whether they're zombies or you fight opponents and attack their cities. You need additional fleet units that way to make your army more powerful, right? That way, the more units you have in that fleet, the larger it is and the more strength you have when you go after something. We have additional fleet unit bonus as well. And now this is also going to add an even higher bonus in a cross-nation battle. Again, just adding and stacking together with the previous officer. Now the next one here is actually my least favorite. I just don't have anything better that I'd like to replace it with, but I'm not going to invest anything. In fact, you'll see this officer is only level 6, so I've done kind of the bare minimum. I had some additional skills that weren't my favorite that I also added into the slots as they opened. However, I've gotten a fair amount of officer fragments for it, so I just continue to upgrade it because I don't see any reason not to if you have the additional fragments. Don't take these abilities or these skills really when considering all the other ones I have, so I'm not even going to go over those because they don't synergize in the same way that the remainder do. This, although the text made difficult to see, you're going to get additional attack from your troops. So now I'm starting to get some units that increase my strength in battle. Again, some additional firepower or attack, increasing wounded units as well. Now we have additional attack, melee defense, and here's where you start seeing these themes, right? I have additional resources being gathered, I have additional research time, and now I'm stacking things like fleet size, output from my troops, using all of these to synergize together. Damage reduction, melee attack. We can go on and on. Siege army damage, city guard defense. All of these are very good. Damage dealt to troops. So obviously I have a strong emphasis on when I attack. I want to be able to do large amounts of damage and get more out of my troops. Defense, hit points, mid-range hit points. And finally we have attack and hit points for city guards as well as defensive tower damage. So also protecting my resources that I've gathered as well. And you can see the remainder of those officers down here. I'm just zoomed in just to help you kind of read the tooltips here as we go through. So why do I think that these are the best? Well, I also really like to level up the garage because this is going to increase fleet troop units as well. And when I attack something, my army strength actually can take down monsters or zombies about twice as powerful as what my army strength is because I've stacked all of these bonuses together. So it really adds up over time. And let's take a look inside of the academy as well. And if we go into research, there's not just 4 categories, but there's an enormous amount. You see I have a strong emphasis again on stacking bonuses for my military, and that's another large reason why I'm able to defeat zombies that are so much more powerful, whether it's on the open world or the events that take place. But there's additional categories as well that I've barely gone into, right? So I need all this additional time, and this research speed really adds up. In fact, I've barely touched this one at all. I've got only 4 points, and this is really just the minimum that was required to continue upgrading my city, if I recall. Also in here, very few points invested, so I have a ton of research to continue to do. Now, if you manage to play for long enough that you unlock all of the research, or you start getting to the point where you're near, you could always replace that officer. However, the officers have a strong or a high investment cost, meaning that if we want to level these skills up, they kind of take a lot. So you can see that there's a ton of skills that you can fuse together and add onto those units as you start acquiring them and leveling the officers themselves up. If we go in here and take a look just at any of the officers, the E stands for having them equipped. You can't see that at the bottom of the screen here because I'm zoomed in, but there'll be a noticeable E, meaning that you have them equipped or assigned. So you know where you want to invest your points after you've appointed them or whether you want to kind of hold off. But in general, you'll see what it costs for fragments. Now, I could use this with just my random purple officer fragments. However, I'm going to hold off for now, and that's just starring up. Now, we also have the experience here, and at level 11 to get to 12, I need almost 10,000 points, and you can see what I have for some of these available resources, and it's just not enough to keep leveling everything up. So you want to make sure that the choices and what you appoint are ones that you're going to stick with and continue to use over time. There's no way to refund it after you've leveled something, so that's kind of the important thing to take from this, is that make sure you're picking ones that synergize with each other. Make sure you're picking ones that go for the goals that you're hoping for as well. And in terms of officer skills, if you go back in here, and we can see, if you click on some of these skills, again, the experience required is pretty hefty. I do have enough to level this up, but I can only get one level and most of the way to the next, and I've been saving these for a fair amount of time. So unless you're purchasing packs fairly regularly and you're just collecting things as you can, it's difficult. So you really want to save these and make sure that what you're putting them into is valuable. In this case, my city is actually most limited by steel and mineral in terms of resources. So adding on to this mineral expert is actually beneficial for me. So in fact, I will level this one up to the next level. And you can see that this will increase the bonus that I get, as well as the note here. For every 100 officer mastery, the bonus is increased by another 3.5%. So the higher this mastery number under the officer's portrait there, for every 100 I'm going to get bigger bonuses. So I'm a pretty far way away. In fact, I need 94 mastery to get to that next threshold. So I want to be smart about when I invest, and I tend to kind of level my officers at once, meaning I don't just put some experience into them. I kind of save for a while, and then I give them a couple levels. That's just my preferred way to make sure that I stay on track and I'm getting the most out of everything that I want from them. And you can see here at the top, now I do have in my city a whole bunch of nodes. Now I have started removing some farms. In fact, I've got a farm, 4 farms next to each other there, and then I've got another one down here, and I did the same thing with my oil refineries. I've got 4 oil refineries there, and I've started removing some of these. Now, the reason I did this is so that I could have more minerals and more steel production, and I'm going to continue to increase and remove things. And what I mean by that is I'm going to remove more. So next I'll remove an oil refinery, and I'll add in another mineral node, and then I will probably remove one of these low-level training grounds and add in some more steel mills. And I just need to get more of these resources because the cost of some of these things when you go up just continues to increase. And here we can take a look at some of these huge numbers that we need. Now let's see if I can scroll up far enough for you to see the steel and the minerals. And you can see how far away I am. Okay, I do have some crates, but I need about 10 million more steel and about 5 million more minerals. Okay, these are huge numbers considering what you get at a certain time and when you're gathering. So an increased fleet size will allow you to take down higher level zombies, attack more powerful cities, as well as do better in events, whether they're clan based or solo based. And the final thing that's worth noting is look at these armies that I have gathering out. Now all of these use fleet size. I can increase the number of troops I send to gather more resources when I'm not even playing. This is absolutely huge over time, allowing you to just gather more per day, more per week, and more per month, etc. You can check a node here. If I look, I've gathered 33,000 steel, and there's still 31,000 steel remaining, which I'll be able to collect for a little over 60,000 or so when I come back. I'm about to put the game down for several hours after the video, and I'll just come back to these resources. Having more fleets available as well as increased fleet size is just going to add up tremendously over time. So I just want to stress that. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.